Welcome in the first video of a two-parter, where in this video I'll be talking about what the Creation Club will probably or hopefully mean, and what some things Bethesda will have to do are if they want to make this work. This will probably be a fair amount of speculation as well. In the second video I'll talk about how I think you should fight against this if you want to. I'll give a link maybe here on screen if I figure out how to do that, otherwise it's in the description. So let's start talking about the Creation Club. They want to make really sure that we know that this isn't paid mods. For one, a lot of it will be internal. So what I think this for a large part is people still want to work on these games, or some people in their studio are done. Everything that they need to do for the game is done, or everything they need to do for the DLC is done. So, I don't know, maybe the weapon animators or the weapon designers in general, they have nothing more to do. So, what do you make them do? In Fallout I think they put a lot of designers for stuff on the workshop DLCs, but well, those didn't seem to fly over too well either, did they? Nobody really liked them. But I think a large part of it is just that people in the studio who want to work more on these games, but don't really have something to work on for these games. So they can do this, and Bethesda can actually pay them for the work they do. I mean, I won't say that this system is ideal, but it's an interesting solution to an interesting problem, I think. What is also very important to at least consider when talking about this is very heavily moderated. This is very heavily looked at. You can't just upload any video for a price like we had with paid mods for Skyrim with Steam, because that was utter shite. Yeah, I'm really going to pay you, I don't know, what was it, €5 for a sword? No, I'm not, because that's dumb. Every one of these mods, yeah, I'm going to call them mods, because, well, they haven't given another name for them either, have they? That's kind of a problem. But all of these paid mods are very heavily looked at. They take a good look if it works, if there's nothing wrong with it, and then they'll put it up. Of course, I don't think this is a system that is good for, hey, let's upload a cool armor, and then try and get a bit of money from that, because nobody, and I repeat, nobody is going to pay for some stupid armor. It might be the coolest armor for your character, there will be very few people who will buy it, because, well, the modding scene isn't going anywhere. They have said that as well. Now, what this system will probably be for is actually big things, multi-people things, the things that take a lot of time, and a bit of compensation would be grateful, so they can partly do it as a job, so they can put in the time that is needed for it. Things like huge armor compilations, but that aren't compilations, just huge amounts of armors. And why not compilations? Well, you're not allowed to re-upload anything that is already a mod, which is also a kind of nice thing. But if somebody creates something to the size of immersive armors, then it might have a chance in the Creators Club. What I really think this is very good for is the really big projects. Your Wormtooths, your Falscars, your Helgen Reborns. Those huge quest mods that do a lot of stuff, often, well, you really need a lot of different people for it. Where you do need some people who can make you some armor. Where you need people who are good with building worlds. people who are good at designing quests, people who are good at doing stories, people who are good at voice acting. Basically where you need an actual dev, when you need real developers, where you need a group of real developers, or really somebody, one person who can do it all. That is, I think, what this creation club is really fit for. Because, yeah, we all saw that ballistic gun that you have to reload like the laser musket, and yeah, it looks cool, sure, but well, if I really want that, I'll create it myself, and I'm not a good modder. The biggest thing I made is a patch for another mod that works in tandem with another mod, and well, I made a sword. It works. I have never figured out how I actually do texture for it, so it never was published, but I can do the model. So if I really want this, I'll make it myself, but somebody else will make this as well. But yeah, that's just kind of the point I tried to make here. This is very good for big projects, just the really big things that need a lot of people or one person to put in a huge amount of time. The small mods, every mod they have shown, yeah, those I think won't do well, because nobody is going to pay money for a bow that looks kind of cool. Also, what I do think is interesting, with these multi-crew people, we might actually see people that work in Bethesda maybe forming a group with some people in another development studio that wanted to make something for these games, and maybe some good modders. Just people from all sides working together, and I think that's really cool. I mean, if modders start working together with people from Bethesda, that would be awesome. And let's start talking about something that they kind of, I think, fucked themselves up with, as they said that this isn't paid mods. Because they want to make that very clear, this isn't paid mods. What this means is they can't use any of the excuses that are in place for mods. Because what are some of the unfortunate facts about mods? Well, installing them can be a pain, but this isn't a mod. This is official downloadable content. So it just has to work easily. It can be buggy, but this isn't a mod that is continually updated. This is a full release official DLC. So it just has to work perfectly. It can make your game pretty unstable, but well, this is official, so it has to work properly. So they can't do that either. It has to be completely stable. And at some point, mods will completely ruin your game or your save game, which is just an unfortunate fact of life, really. But these aren't mods. These are official Creation Club DLC. So they have to just work. This is why I think that they have to be really cautious with it. They have to really test every mod, which also will mean that they probably won't open the floodgates like Steam did with Greenlight. They can't afford it because, well, this is official DLC. And for some mods this will of course be easier than for others. For instance, if they have a weapon mod, yeah, sure, that will just take a look in the file, see that it only adds a weapon, and that it adds it to the leveled list or to a couple places in the world. Go in game, see if that actually works, maybe try it in some places that push the engine, that push the game a bit. If it works, great. Then you know that it's a safe mod. But something like Fastcall, for instance, if they want to have mods like that, which, yeah, they'll want to, or at least they should want to, because those are the mods that will actually sell, well, they'll have to playtest probably the entire thing, try to put it under a lot of stress and see if it stays, if it keeps working. Meaning, this will probably be a fair amount of work for them. This isn't just, hey, mods are a thing that people like, let's cash in on that. No, they will have to put some work into cashing in on it. And another interesting point, in my opinion, is, well, this is paid for content. People will want to know if it is worth their money. So the people who used to be, well, I was going to say people who used to be mod highlighters will have to change, but no, not really, because, well, the Nexus will still be a big thing. But we are going to need actual mod reviewers. People who take a look at mods and, well, really review it, see what's wrong with it, see if it might be worth the money. And this will mean that Bethesda will have to start giving out review copies of these mods for people to review. So let's say you want to become a mod reviewer, now is the time. Or at least once the Creation Club goes live, it's the time. When it goes live, go bug Bethesda and go say, hey, I want a review copy of this mod, so people can know if it is worth their money. Now's the time for that. If you think you have what it takes, well, go do it. And that was pretty much all I had to say in this video. Just some things that I think will happen and some things I think should happen. And in the next video, I'll be talking about what you need to do if you want to fight this. Because, unsurprisingly, you can't just storm the Bethesda headquarters and demand that they stop having paid mods. That won't work. But there is other stuff you can do that can work. So that was all I had to say for now. This has been Phoenix, saying